6 months.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, it's funny how many people get stuck at 100K for years.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's been honestly, I opened. So I came from working for a shop. I was there for shoot, ever since I pretty much started. I was there for 6 to 7 years, and it finally came my time. I was like, you know what? This is something I've always wanted. It's been a big goal, everything like that. So I was like, we'll finally do it. And I was really, truly expecting the first couple months just kind of be sitting around and, do some small stuff, Chrome deletes, different things like that. And then it kind of like, I actually made a video about it because I was like, man, like I was so stressed whenever I opened. I was like, what am I going to do for jobs? And I had like, a week and a half to 2 weeks of work lined up, like right whenever I opened. And then it just kind of turned into a month and a half booked out. And I was like stopping all my ads because I was like, I don't know why I'm paying all this money if I can't even get people in. And I'm telling them, hey, I'm sorry, I got to get you in January. And they're like, well, I'm not waiting that long. And so to have the free time now, it's a little nice. I'm not gonna lie. So
Like, yeah. Awesome. Well, we'll hop right into it and we'll get to know each other along the way. That's the best
cool. Yeah,
part.
yeah.
But I always kind of just blind add people, and I was like, yo, this guy is killing it. Like, I pay attention to everybody. I'm just a
Yeah,
curious
I
wrap shop
appreciate
owner
it.
myself. And the thing, how old are you?
I'm 25.
I legitimately have been on a wave of about 25-year-olds that are
Really,
just savages. And it, because
that
I started at
it's
23.
it's really
Yeah.
cool, honestly. Like the social media was never really like something I ever saw myself doing. It just kind of happened the way that it did, and to be able to meet all the people that I have, like I tell people all the time, like I'm assuming you've seen my social media and stuff like that, and I don't really like. One thing I don't do is I'm not like I don't just push a product to push a product. Is like that's how a lot of people make money on social media. I honestly make like almost $0 from social media until recently. I've been changing my content. But the coolest part for me was like meeting new shops, making those connections. Like there's people that I've been talking to on Instagram for 2.5, 3 years, never met in person, and we literally have conversations multiple times a week. And that's the coolest part for me, honestly, is meeting a lot of the shop owners and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. So, you started 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Did you have any vehicle wrap experience or anything prior to that?
Yeah. So I think I started when I was like, I don't know, 18, right after high school, was going to college and all that. And then just kind of got into it from there, was going to school for civil engineering, and then just took the passion of cars. And I didn't really want to do mechanic stuff because I didn't really want to be super dirty all the time. And I was like, man, wrapping cars would be cool. And I sold a car, paid for a low end training class, and pretty much ever since then, I worked part time and then I worked full time at a shop for 6 to 7 years. So,
So you, sorry, my dog walked out at the same time.
you're
Uh,
good.
you, so you worked at a shop for 6 or 7 years?
Yeah. So I kind of
Okay.
like that was kind of like my starting point, right? So like I had like rap background because I had wrapped my cars, a lot of friends' cars, and just whatever I honestly could. And then couldn't really find much for work. I knew I didn't want to go commercial. Personally, my passion was just mainly for cars, and so the color change and stuff like that was kind of the in for me. So I was like, man, I really want to do this. And there's a local shop in town, and they're a tint shop mainly. And then over the years, we kind of just grew into being more like wrap tint and everything like that. So I ended up
Yeah, so
dropping out of college and all that.
you're much more focused on the retail aspect. Do you do any commercial at all?
I will, but most of the commercial stuff that I do is going to be full digital print or realistically, like just being me, I don't have the time to focus on creating graphics or doing like that. Like I'll have some guys that'll outsource to, like, hey, deal with him, get your graphics, bring it to me, I'll install it.
Mhm.
That's kind of my focus now for the commercial side of things.
Is your wrap shop in constant chaos? Endless reprints every day? Material being wasted? Your print room is always a bottleneck and your production just feels slow. Your installers have their own way of doing things because there's no standards. Where is that dang file? Good luck finding it. Your designer's the only one that knows where it's at. This is not how you run a business. This is a fire drill. and we're hosting a 2-day workshop to show you exactly how to fix it. It's called Printing Profits. We'll give you the systems for your print room, for your file organization, and for your people. So you can move a job cleanly from quote to install without having to babysit everything along the way. You'll walk away with plug-and-play templates, checklists, and KPIs that real 7-figure wrap shop businesses are using. We're capping this event at 20 people. So click the link, grab your seat, and let's turn that chaos into a profitable, scalable business.
I know it makes more money. I don't know. I just enjoy for me, I'm not really like focused as much on the money side of things. Like when it comes to like making a lot of money for like the commercial reps like that. I know I really enjoy the color change. I really enjoy doing cool projects. That's kind of been my focus.
Well, that keeps you happy. I mean, you definitely need to be whatever your niche. I mean, I'm sure you're aware of like SS Customs out in California. He makes plenty of money in color change. So,
Yeah.
it's about fabricating that lane. I just think it's a completely different industry, commercial to color.
For sure. Yeah.
But when you're doing that retail side like you're doing, you definitely have to present yourself the way that you're doing, which is just getting yourself out there and showing
Yeah.
people on social medias and stuff. So, I mean, so that's your story coming into the shop. Like, what was like the final trigger that just like, I'm going to start my own shop?
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, we'll say on like the good positive stuff. I don't
course.
really ever want to like say anything negative or anything like that. It's not really what I like to do. But as far as that goes, like I kind of came into it originally like I said, I was going to school for civil engineering. I did years of internships in high school. Like I was pretty set on that path. And then I got into cars, did that, and I was like, man, this would be really cool. And as it kind of developed, like, I just always knew like I really wanted to own my own shop. That was kind of like from the start, like the ultimate goal. And the biggest thing that I learned over that, right, is like I worked at the same place on and off a couple of times because I would go out on my own and I would do it with other people. And that was my biggest mistake is going out on my own with other people. I got screwed over multiple ways in that aspect. And so it just kind of came to a point of like, I've grown so much here. I've been here for 6 to 7 years, and I was pretty maxed out. Like, I mean, he was paying me, a decent amount to stay, and I enjoyed it. Like, it was show up, not have to take the stress home or anything like that. But realistically, like, to have my name on a building was always the goal. And so that was kind of like always the motivator. And then finally, just something happened one day, and I was like, I have a lot of friends that also own businesses between mechanics and tin shops and all that. And every single time I'd see them for years, like, you're going to go start your own business. You're going to go start your own business. I was like, oh, eventually. Oh, eventually. And then finally, just one day, I was like, I remember driving past the building that I'm currently in right now. Probably, I guess it'd be a year ago now. They started building these in December of last year. And I was like, man, that'd be so cool to have that shop. And texted a friend that I went to high school with, actually was in engineering school with him, like through my programs. He's a realtor now. I was like, hey, is there any of these available? He was the realtor on it and got me in the next day. And so that's kind of like it just developed. And I was super nervous right after I got the place. I was like, what am I doing? And gave the job I was at about a 2-month notice and just kind of been here ever since.
Do you think if that prior shop had a bigger vision, do you think there was a chance that you would have stayed?
No, I mean, I think the vision was pretty big for him. He's actively expanding. He has, like he's expanded. We started basically at that shop. We started as a small group. I kind of came in as like the vinyl guy. There's a little bit of vinyl work here and there, but not to the extent that we were doing. Like we might have gotten one car app a month to then we were booked out for 2 to 3 months at times. Now he has multiple full vinyl installers and stuff like that. And we started in a 2,000 square foot, and then he progressively like expanded to different, now he has almost like a little compound in that area. So I think, he's definitely expanding and stuff like that. I just think me personally, the way that I wanted to take my social media and that, I think it just kind of was a better decision for me to leave. I didn't, I had a lot of responsibilities there. I couldn't really take on, creating talking videos like I do now. And realistically, my goal was to create a brand around myself. And so that was kind of why. he definitely had the vision to expand and everything like that. I just, was kind of always my own goal to have my own shop.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. Um, and then curious, did he ever talk to you about your visions?
Yeah, I mean,
Like
he
how or like your
respected it.
goals? Yeah.
I think I honestly, I was one of the, I don't know how to put this. I mean, he had a very, I mean, I know he had a very mutual respect for how I did things and stuff like that because I genuinely always did try and, you know, I would get annoyed. The only time I get upset at that job is whenever things weren't ran smoothly in the fact of like efficiency almost. And he understood that and he appreciated that. And so he knew it was gonna come. We had some conversations beforehand and I was like, hey, here's the price, here's the amount that I want a year. We switched from commission to salary at a point, and I was like, this is what I want. And just so you know, by paying me that, you're just, you know, not enabling me, but you're just making me able to get to that point further. And I mean, he was like, yeah, I know, like, I know you're gonna eventually go on your own. I know you want to do it. And it came sooner for him than he thought. He even told me before I left, he's like, man, I was expecting at least get another year, not 6 months, but it was pretty mutual ground leaving there and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. I think that, I tell a lot of people this, and this is one thing that I say a lot. Like people ask me, am I going to hire somebody? Now because I'm going from the crazy part was going from a employee to a business owner. That was a very dramatic change. Which was very awesome to learn about. But a lot of people ask me about employees, stuff like that, and which is definitely something I want. But to me, I was like, man, I want to find an employee like me where you're able to get the use out of it. Like, I don't feel like I left him high and dry or anything like that just because I was there for 6, 7 years. I feel like you got that's a pretty good lifespan of employee, I'd say. And I tried my best and everything like that. And so hopefully, find that in another employee coming. But
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I asked that I always ask those questions because some people, especially like now that you're in owner seat, like you're soon going to need to hire somebody,
yeah, yeah,
and and you will continue to need to hire some people,
yeah,
and there's a lot of fear that people have when it comes to hiring people, but like a lot of times they're like, well, what if they leave? And it's like, that's fine. Like, I was just
yeah,
curious if he even asked you what your goals were. Cause like I've had people leave and I'm like, hey, what's your goal? And guys like, I want to start my own business. Like, great. I'll teach you how to run business. Give me 2, 3 years of your life. I'll give you everything that I can give you
yeah,
possibly. Like, let's do it together. And his position wasn't an install position. It was like a production
yeah,
position. And he crushed production. And we got from A to, let's just call it D. He got from like A to B for his education on the biz side of things, and he went and started his own biz.
yeah.
And everybody's better for it. So,
Yeah, I think honestly it was crazy. I mean, coming in, I was, crazy enough. It was one of those places where you just kind of like get an interview. I'd say you just got to show up every day. And back then, his business was, growing in not really an infant stage at that point. But I mean, there was never like a goals conversation there. I was 17, 18 years old. So
right.
I also didn't know my big goals at that point. I just knew I liked cars and wrapped cars. So that kind of grew as our, relationship there grew and stuff like that. But it was definitely, I mean, I always tell a lot of people now, like, I don't know if I'd really change it. I learned a lot of things from working there. I learned a lot of skills. I was literally able to wrap cars every single day. And it kind of turned into this. I knew that to do it on my own, I needed to wait until I had that opportunity of my own. I didn't want to do it with anybody else. Like I got screwed over twice on that. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait it out till it was exactly the right time. And I was like, I think I'm gonna finally do it. And yeah.
Awesome. Well, your shop looks sick. I love the
Thank you.
colorway of the building. You got the cool sign. Where'd you get that sign from?
It's a guy on Instagram, LC Signs.
Oh, you got it from
Yeah.
Tony.
Yeah. They're huge. And I mean, hey, for the price, you can't really beat it.
Dude, the sign's sick, especially on the black shop.
Yeah, it turned out really cool. Thank you. I had a sign shop locally hang it, and they were like, "Man, how much did you pay for this thing?" And I told him, he's like, "Dude, that's insane. Like, you can't even come close to that." And I was like, "Hey, It works great, and I have no complaints. So
Dude, those guys' with social media is insane too.
there is, yes. That's kind of
Like,
my biggest focus this year is honestly going to be really changing my social media.
how has that affected you? Like doing since day one? Because like a lot of guys, like okay, one big reason why I wanted to chat with you is because of the season and business that you're in.
Yeah.
You're 6 months in. You did over six figures in 6 months as a solo guy, first year.
Yeah.
Would you say that, the social media like for sure played a massive part in that, or did you already have pre-established roots connections
Um,
wise in your area?
that it's hard to say honestly. And social media in the time that I've started doing it has changed an insane amount. I don't know how long I've been doing it, maybe 3 to 4 years now. Which was kind of my way of just creating my own style while I was working for somebody. Really was my goal. And so basically, I'd say yes and no. A lot of my quotes do come through the website, but I don't know where they. I need to, I guess, ask where they found the website. But I do think it helped just the online presence in general. It definitely helps. I notice it helps a lot with if someone Google searches my company NS Wraps. I think that the way Instagram has it, because of the followers, because of all these things, they push that algorithm or the SEO, whatever you want to call it, onto Google. This could be made up, I don't know, but if you look up NS Wraps on there, my Instagram will pop up like one of the first things I always find. And it's not even my name on there. It's just, a part of the title. So that part I think does help. But I mean, as far as my area goes, I've been in my area for a long time and I just wrapped a lot of cars in the area. So that also helps a lot. So I don't really know. I know there's a lot of people that do have a big social media, like even a bigger one that do get only from social media, like Jay the Rap Specialist. He pulls in a ton just off social media. And for me, it wasn't really the social media for me wasn't really about just gaining customers. It was mainly the connections and all that I've made.
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably does more for you than you give it credit. And
Probably,
and, and
honestly.
the reason why is I think that like let's just say a customer came to you and
Yeah.
you're newer and they're like in their head, everybody, all customers are always like, why should I choose this person? And
I
at
do agree.
first you're kind of enemies. And that's while they're in the courting stage. Once they pay a deposit, then they're your best friend because they
Yeah.
want you to do as great of a job as possible. But I think a few things happen, and I only notice this because I run a very very small social media myself. But like, it's not even about the quantity; it's more just the fact that it's even on there, the
Yeah.
proof, the evidence. Like instead of you persuading people that you're all these things, or like even let's just say me and you having a conversation and I'm trying to choose you as the vendor that I want to pick, and I'm like, okay, is this guy selling me? Is this really this guy? And then I go onto your Instagram and I spend 10 minutes with you, and I'm like, he's consecutively the same person. Okay,
Yeah.
I feel more confident that this person's being authentic or genuine.
I
So
do think that, yeah. Whenever people do look it up and stuff like that, I think whenever they do see that and stuff like that, I do think that part actually does probably help a lot. Not even that it's like, I guess you could say credibility, or I don't know how you want to put it, but I do think it does help. Like I also tell people all the time, like, if you're nervous about it, go look at my work. Like you can find it here. Like there's hundreds of videos you can watch. But really like a big goal for me this year is more going to be like explaining stuff and even
mhm.
further build that trust because my videos are good. They get the attention, they get the views, they get whatever, but they don't hold as much value as what they used to. Just because
Mhm.
now everyone is doing the videos, you know what I mean? And it's very, it's very good. But I notice like people find a lot more value whenever I'm in front of the camera and I'm talking about stuff. And so that's kind of like my goal because it also helps people, learn a lot of new things about the process of a vinyl wrap. Oh, do you take my car apart? Do you not take my car apart? And so that's kind of where I've noticed a really big, almost like trust factor there.
Mhm.
So I think that's a really cool part of it too.
Have you done any stuff on YouTube?
I did for a little bit, but honestly, I've just I was so busy doing it all myself. My wife actually, about a month and a half ago, started working with me here full time, and she's kind of taken the role of social media for me. We record a lot of videos, just like me talking and like different things like that. And I've mainly shown that presence on TikTok. And this is the first time, like I said, I've had videos with, I've done, millions and millions of views every month throughout Instagram, throughout TikTok, and all of that. And there's not a payoff. Not saying that there needs to be a payoff, but it got exhausting recording videos every single day, posting every single day, and it's like another job almost. And so we wanted to find that way to actually start to create value in them and start to like monetize them, which is kind of what we've been doing. And we've actually like the last month we made like $400 off TikTok. Most I've literally and I have across all platforms hundreds of thousands of followers. That's probably the most I've ever made off of social media ever, because I don't I don't do the products or anything like that. And so having her do that helps honestly a ton.
Yeah. So, so one of the tricks, I just, while we're on the topic, I'll share it with you. I paid for a guy that used to work for a company called Think Media. His name's Omar El Takori, and Think Media is probably 3 million subscribers, something like that on YouTube.
Yeah.
And he was basically tired of dealing with creative type people. He wanted to deal with entrepreneurs, so he started his own leg of stuff. And what you're describing, that fatigue of like constantly chasing the views and this and that, is exactly why he's like, the artist guys don't understand how to make money. But you talking about this shift that you're going in, I think this would be very valuable. YouTube clientele or viewers are the most loyal and most likely to buy type viewer that there is. Compared to all the other mediums. Instagram's very great, but it's short. The tail is like this long. Same with TikTok. Like it's tension flick, right?
Yep.
So if you're sitting down and starting to work where it's just like your educational side comes from that, then posting on YouTube, also Google owns YouTube. So you're talking about SEO, you could say NS Raps Dash, I think it's Ozarks, Missouri.
Yeah.
And then when somebody says Vehicle Wraps Ozarks, NS, and then somebody goes there and then they find your Instagram, then they see all the entertaining stuff too.
Yeah.
And so like it would like your credibility would just go through the roof, but the realness of the YouTube side of it, of that slower paced, non-edited, authentic type stuff will probably convert a massive amount.
I need
of
to
your,
honestly, yeah, I do really want to do that. And it's like I think that's kind of I've really been kind of talking about like what our goals are kind of, I guess, for the next year and for just the business. And I'm on a like a I guess like a path here of like, what do I do? Do I want to continue to go just strictly like grow the shop, grow the business? Or do I kind of want to take a, not a diversion, but like, do I want to focus even more on social media and kind of become less, not attached to a business, but like, the social media side of things is a little more free. You don't have to worry about like, basically my question was to my wife is like, what if I didn't have to stress about, I have to wrap this many cars this month, I have to do this much of this and this much that, like, what happens if we're able to monetize social media in a way of creating such good videos that, we could wrap a couple cars a month just to get the videos and we're not having to stress about it all the time. And so that's kind of the point that we're at right now is like, what do we do here? And so that's kind of like, we've talked a lot about that kind of stuff and all that. Not saying, this has always been my goal to have a shop, but I don't know. The power of social media is insane.
power of online anything, the leverage is insane. Yeah.
Yeah, so like that's kind of, I don't know. We'll see what what happens. I mean, you never know. I mean, people. That's the crazy part about social media is I could post a video tomorrow and I could grow 50,000 followers, or I could just stay stagnant. So I don't know, but that's kind of the focus, I guess, is on everything for right now.
I got you. Would you say that consistency of posting, I mean, it's a discipline. It's a freaking, any person that wants to be a full-time creator has no idea how much work they have ahead of them.
Yeah,
Like it's crazy. So would you say that the consistency of that lifestyle has helped you at all in running your rep shop?
Yeah, I mean, I've honestly, I've been even more, I guess, like motivated and consistent since opening a shop. I mean, but yeah, no, I think it has. Like, you kind of gotta just, it's kind of one of those things where it's like sometimes you don't want to, you just gotta continue to keep on doing it. So I'd say yeah, it definitely makes a difference in just remembering things like that and just staying consistent on it.
Well, I mean, I think a product this is just spitballing here and we'll move to the next topic. But I think one product, if you're really good at the social media thing, and you're really good at rapping, you could probably create some kind of product of showing people the process of doing both at the same time and leveraging that to grow a rap shop.
Yeah,
There's nobody with a product like that.
that's true. Yeah.
And so you're teaching people essentially personal brand and rapping at the same time. I got one fly. It's driving me nuts. But you're essentially teaching like the personal brand like fundamentals on top of building a rap shop at the same time because it is beneficial for sales, especially
Yeah.
to the guys that are doing the color change stuff. I think it's very beneficial too in the commercial sector, but you can get away with other methodologies to attract clients. I can't cold call the guy with a McLaren.
Yeah.
Like he has to find me.
Yeah.
And you need certain mediums, whether it be paid ads that then go to the person investigating me, to then seeing all the content on Instagram, to then finding me somewhere else, to then finally submitting a web form. Like that is true. Like the moment that we realize in any business that, and this is kind of the era that you're in right now, that you're really not even a rap business, you are a marketing agency that is
Yeah.
trying to get a product in front of a customer. That's all we are. We have this thing
Yeah.
that we solve, and then we're trying to get it in front of people.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing I would say is just having people find you is half the
Hard.
game there. Yeah. It's which, like you were kind of mentioning paid ads and stuff like that, which I kind of have a not really a love-hate relationship with, but to me, like just doing, the social media, and I've never like truly paid to ever like promote a video. Like all the growth that I've made is 100% like organic. And so to see the difference, right? Like I'll see people all the time that locally or whatever, and I see them, they'll promote ads on Facebook, they'll promote these things, and it's like, okay, you have the companies that reach out all the time and like, oh, I'll grow your, I'll do your ads, and you'll see they'll get 20,000 views. I'm like, yes, yeah, 20,000 people saw this, but okay, 20,000 views and 6 likes. If
No
only
engagement.
6 people like it, like who's gonna truly even do that? So, I would say like even just, I talked to a lot of people just on social media stuff like that, and I always try anytime someone messages me about social media because I do know how big of a tool it is in that aspect of just people seeing it, and I always try and help people out for that. But I always tell them like, don't just the views doesn't mean anything. It's really like if you have 5,000 followers, if you have whatever, if you're getting 500 views, but those 500 views are solid, good views, like that's all you need to worry about. Like, like recently on TikTok, like I've been like I totally shifted my content where my goal would have been hundreds of thousands of views on a post. I get 500,000 views and what, 1,000 likes? Okay, that's a terrible percentage. But now I'm posting videos, let's say, that get 5,000 views and 600 likes. That's way better than a 500,000 view video with almost the same amount of likes. So the value of that to me has actually transitioned into a lot more, and it's shown more growth, even though I'm only doing the 5 to 6,000 view videos now. Now they're boosting into 10,000, stuff like that. And so the quality of video is not always as good as I guess the wow factor of visual, like seeing it. Not saying that they're bad. That's really good for just people that are entertaining, and then just remember, oh yeah, I saw that video. It was entertaining to watch. I guess there's a whole scheme of it down the road. I've
There is. I'm not a very entertaining person, so I stick to the educational stuff.
Yeah, I really want to honestly start to go more into the educational stuff. I've always really wanted to like do trainings with people, and I really want to start. There's not really like a true advanced train. Like I guess correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know a lot about the training side of things, and like what there is to offer out there, but I've never seen one yet that's like a true advanced training class. Like, let's say someone who's been rapping for 1 year, they've rapped a decent amount of cars, but they just want to like really go in like the fine details of things. That's kind of something I've like wanted to do, and like I've had people message me for trainings and stuff, and my brain doesn't work in the fact of like I don't know if I could train like a true beginner of like, here's how you hold a squeegee, but I could definitely train somebody that's knows how to squeegee, knows how to hold a blade and like fine tune. That'd be like, that's one thing a goal that I eventually want to do as well is do a more advanced training class, like one-on-one, like very detailed type stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's where the rap shop comes into play is like you have to build your credibility.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a couple of advanced trainings. Believe it or not, I don't know about the rap class, but their PPF class, in my opinion, is pretty advanced. Hexus does a really good job. Day
Really?
one, they rent cars. Hexus training is hilarious. Verada's great. They rent cars that they get the bumper to bumper coverage, and they got day one guys in there cutting on the cars.
Crazy. That's awesome.
Like they just stick the PPF and you just start cutting. And I was just like, you guys are crazy. Like they make us practice on the backliner first, like whatever.
Yeah.
I was there to get cert, but and I had one of my guys with me, and like you make sure you not score that, and then they start sticking it to the cars, and then you just practice for the first day, basically trimming on guard.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
but nobody does that, and I was
Yeah,
like,
that
okay,
I
that's
I
crazy.
really want to do some more kind of just like training and more like get out in the rap community more this year. Now that now I just have the shop and all that, I don't know, it's kind of changed a lot for me. Like going to SEMA and meeting all the brands I talked to and all these people I talked to was honestly one of the coolest thing ever. And my wife afterwards, we went to the rap event, I believe, was the
WWE
WWE.
rap,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that one. Went to that, it was just cool. And she was like, man, it's so cool to like see, I guess, all the community together. Because my wife's, we've been together ever since I started rapping. And so she's kind of seen just the growth and all of that. And especially on the social media. And so and actually, she's like, man, I think it'd be really cool to do a video series and have her create an Instagram to where like the only series, the videos only on there are like me training her how to rap. And then that's all the videos are about that. But more, thoughts and random things that we want to do. But that's it was cool to see all the different avenues people have there.
Hmm. Well, what do you think your big goal is for the rap, outside of social media side, like for the rap business? What's the big goal for 2026?
Mm. Honestly, I mean, realistically, I'd like to hire. Kind of expanding that. I've kind of actually like had a dabble in it a little bit recently with some people that I've known, and maybe it's like disassembly and different things like that. But it'd be awesome to hire. I don't really have like a money, I guess, goal in mind or anything like that. I guess just really my biggest goal is to just continue consistent work and have like a way of scheduling and things like that to where I don't have to worry about like if I tell a customer a day, like it's, everything's scheduled on that point. That's like my biggest goal is always like if I say, hey, I'm gonna have your car for 5 days, I try and keep it to exactly 5 days and I just stay like scheduled out like that. And I think that's always a pretty big goal for me, just the shop in general. And yeah, I mean we'll see I guess how the year goes from there. So
Cool. What is one thing that was a big shock as a business owner instead of a employee?
The biggest thing was time management. Not time management, but I go from telling someone. I remember scheduling my first month to I'd say my first 2.5 to 3 months. I also have another thing on to dabble into that as well. But going in from the first, let's say 3 months, figuring out that for the last 6 years I've been telling people, oh yeah, your car is gonna take me a week, and that's applicable amount of time for that. And I could also throw in a chrome delete in there for that week. I could throw in the roof wraps, whatever I wanted to. And then I quickly found out that that 1 week involves a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, a lot of customers walking through the door. Some days I don't even get to touch a car because I have literally 10 people walk through the door and I'm like, great, every single one of you talked to me for 30, 40 minutes, which is great. We had some sales, whatever. not saying that's a bad thing to talk to them for 30, 40 minutes, but nothing's getting done. And so that was probably the biggest thing for me is to like, okay, I need to make a little bit longer or I guess stay later or, that the kind of the sacrifice there comes in. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, that was probably the biggest shock to me was just, it's not a week, it's not 2 hours anymore of that I can tell you. I'm the guy running everything. So I could be 2 hours, it could be three because I got to answer the phone. That was probably the biggest shock.
Yeah. You need a gatekeeper.
Yeah. That is my wife now, which has been honestly really, really big for efficiency as far as me actually being able to work on stuff, answering the phone, answering emails, helping shoot the videos. Like I just,
Mm-hmm.
phone, here you go, like shoot the videos. I probably honestly would never have even shifted my content if it wasn't for her editing and recording those videos because I honestly just don't have time. I work just so much now that the last thing I really want to do at 7 o'clock at night is edit a video. Because the videos of you talking with all the little things you have to do with like the subtitles and adding photos and the dings and whatever else, like that takes so much time versus that's why a lot of my content was just time lapses. Time lapse, sped up video, music on trending music, video posted. Those anymore, they take me a couple minutes to edit versus something like that that's more complex. It's going to take a lot longer. So that helps a lot, I guess, as far as the gatekeeper side of things for that. So
Well, it's dual faceted. So not only are they your gatekeeper, but you're also so you're protecting your time. You're still, fortunately, you're kind of addressing this early. I did all fulfillment first. So I was still the sales guy, but I was also still the back end of the house guy. All
Yeah.
the middle components were handled. And so like you said, some days you just can't even work on the car. And I was getting upset at people bringing me money for new projects.
Yeah.
They were interrupting me on the other project in the back, and it
Yeah.
was my own fault. I wouldn't hire an admin, but having that ability to stay on the tools longer, but then also in your case, like I didn't have any social media presence. Like the fact that you can lever that for recording the videos, editing, like I think admin's the strongest position you can hire. Period.
Yeah, it's been huge. And the coolest thing was, and my wife will always say this, is she's like, the nice thing is it was such an easy answer to have her come because it's like, I'm not gonna have to worry about, you're not gonna try and screw me over and
Right.
you're not gonna leave because this is our life and
Mhm.
and all of that. So that was kind of the best part about it, honestly, is like, why would I hire somebody external whenever you're right there? And she likes to record videos and do all that kind of stuff. So it worked out perfectly.
Perfect. What was the scheduling bit that you kind of mentioned?
No, so I was kind of more of just like the processes of doing things. So I went from, as far as like the time and efficiency side of things, I went from like the shop that I was at, like, we had a lot of other employees, like things running around, things would get moved, things would get, touched around. And honestly, like we were a tint shop, right? A very high flow. The tint shop was on another area, but you're tinting 30 cars a day. Well, all 30 of those people want to know also about wraps sometimes. And my job also there was also kind of as a sales, talk to people about wrap stuff as well, show them colors, do whatever. And so I never really truly had down a process there because it wasn't really necessary. Like there was I wouldn't say there was no structure because we had structure, but there was no like process of this is this is the car, this is all that. So the cool thing was actually getting processes in place for myself. And that's where I've noticed like a lot of change and things like that. Like, let's say at the other shop, there'd be times where, I'd get 30, 40 minutes of free time, where I'm going to go work on something and I'm just starting a car. Well, some days I'd start wrapping the hood, and then other days I'd cut out every single one of my panels. And I know, and there was never a process. It just whatever I felt like doing kind of that day.
Mhm.
And now that I have the shop and everything's on me, it's kind of like, okay, the car comes in, the car's clean, the car's disassembled, then all of the panels get cut out. Then this happens and that. And so to actually see how much, I guess, more efficient it's made me was really, really cool to see. And that's kind of that was another kind of like, I guess, epiphany moment of just like, man, I should really be following all these processes and following all that. And that's kind of what today was about too, is like, I have all my detail, like car wash stuff, where I, prep the cars at. And it's kind of like on the ground. Like I have my foam can with some soap and next to the power washer. And then my cabinets all across shop. I'm like, we got to put a shelf here. We got to set all this up. And yeah, exactly. So that's honestly what today's been about. Is we put up 2 new racks, and just, reorganize the shop to just be a little bit more space friendly and everything like that. So that's the
Well,
cool
it's-
part about doing it.
It's good that you see. I think all of us feel the friction, but then we ignore it. We're like,
Yeah.
I'll deal with that later.
Yes.
Instead, you're
Honestly,
like, nah, let's
If
do
it wasn't
now.
for the guy that's kind of been helping me, he just showed up today and we were just talking or whatever. And he's like, well, do you have anything for me to do? And I was like, honestly, you can unbox this rack and we could potentially put it up. And then I got a phone call saying, hey, I can't bring that PPF job in right now. I was like, honestly, perfect. Like, I'm going to rip the whole shop apart and redo all of it. And so it's kind of a nice fresh start, honestly, before I got a Cybertruck to wrap, and that's
Easy
a quick
peasy.
job. So I was like, he wants it back on Monday. I got a couple days to, go through that thing. So I was like, let's tear the shop apart and let's get it fully set up kind of before any new jobs start out. So
Perfect. Well, you're very much in the season that a lot of guys are in. There's a lot of people getting into the wraps.
yeah.
What would be some advice that you
So I'd
would
say-
give?
My biggest advice, and this is what I kind of even still struggle with, is just being new. There's always kind of that, like, still the fear of making money and paying for all of that. And everyone's, I guess, financial situation at that point is different. But to me, I notice this could just be talking just whatever. But for me, I noticed that like stressing about when the next job is going to come just almost made my day go by slower. And I sat on my phone, like waiting for maybe a call or like searching for an email or searching for anything like that. Even though I have work directly in front of me, I just kind of got so fogged over the fact of stressing about I'm I'm 2 to 3 weeks booked out and I'm like, "Oh, what am I going to do in 3 weeks? What am I going to do there?" And so I'd say the biggest thing is like don't keep stressing on the jobs you might have in the future. Just like continue to focus on the ones you currently still have, because a lot of them are repeat or anything like that. And stressing about that was, it's quite a bit, honestly. And I even posted a video about it on my TikTok. I'm like, the jobs will come. You just got to stay consistent to what you can do and keep up with, if it's your website you need to do, if it's your any of this kind of stuff, like while you're sitting there, do something productive. Go onto your Google profile and update all of your photos. Like a customer doesn't have to post a photo. You can post all of your photos. I have a photographer come, and this is another thing I guess you could add into it is if you're doing iPhone photos for your finished photos, get a professional to do your photos. I have a guy that comes and does all my photos whenever a car's finished. I've had customers literally tell me that they went onto my website versus somebody else and was like, your photos are really nice. Like this all looked really good. And I'm like, great. Like my website's not that great. It was free, honestly. And so like that right there has been a huge factor too, is like good photos. And just if you're worried about jobs, don't worry. Like, I don't know, not to not worry about them, but I don't know. I don't know if you get what I'm saying at that as well, but
The framework that you're talking about is abundance mindset versus scarcity mindset.
yeah.
Is that I know that I can't control that phone to ring right now because I'm new, but I can't control all these other things. So let me
Yeah.
just go do that instead of just mulling over, like waiting for this thing to do. Because those things still are needing to be done no matter what.
Yeah.
And, it is important for you to stress about money, but not in the sense of, too much of anything is bad. So
Yeah.
you like be stressed, be mindful, but do something.
Yeah, not to a point where it's gonna cripple your day. Because there was a couple days even when I opened, I was like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, like I had a savings specifically set for the shop, but I was still just so stressed about what I was gonna do. And then at that point, I was like, you know what? I can't really do anything about it. And then at that point on, I was 2 weeks booked out for that whole time that I stressed. I stressed, the first couple months about opening and just very stressed about it all. And I was like, you know what? Like, clearly things are going good. And, I would get recommendations and then random people would call and text or whatever. And then all of a sudden it was just like, I stopped worrying about it. And I was like, you know what? The jobs will come because they're out there. And I just got to keep doing whatever. And then I was just like months booked, months booked. And it's how it's continued to be. Like ever since that point, I have not been less than a month booked. And I don't know if I could say it's mindset. I could say it's whatever, but, I don't know. Not stressing
Well,
about that has been huge.
I think one thing that helps that's not spoken enough is that whenever you really are stressing about money, your customer can sense that shit.
Yeah.
But if you are just like, what happens, happens, and you're just being true to yourself when you're talking to that customer and you're selling them for all the right reasons, like they can also sense the confidence and all the other things that kind of are coming off of you.
Yeah.
I don't know why the world does that, but it seems like the less that I worry about money, the more I attract.
Yeah. That's true. My wife is very much in that, more about the mindset type of stuff. She always talks about that. And she's always like, oh, I mean, money will always come around. I'm always like, what if it doesn't, though? And I've kind of
Hmm.
stopped that ever since opening because realistically, this is kind of off topic, I guess. This is just, I guess, more of owning a shop and seeing money flow different ways. And going from getting that, let's say $1,000 a week, whatever it is, going from getting that $1,000 a week, seeing that, then to seeing larger amounts of money come in every single month. And $100,000 is like, in the grand scheme of things, how much money people make is not a lot of money.
Mm-mm.
But seeing large payments go out and large payments come in it changes the way. And I remember my buddy, he owns a mechanic shop, and he had even bigger years his first year, and he's like, yep, gotta pay my credit card off from all the parts that I've bought of like $40,000. I'm like,
Mhm.
I remember being an employee, so I'm like, what the heck? And then now, like, whenever you see the money flow, it changes the way that is. So you don't like, not that you don't stress about it as much, but it becomes very different. And I feel like the goal at that point is not as much about money as much as it is about just growing the shop and growing those type of things. And so that also was a cool kind of, I guess, mindset to change. Not stressing about money as much, because it is a big stressor just for everybody. But owning a shop, it's cool to see.
Yeah, my operations manager, she has like her own mental games that she does with the credit card. But our
Yeah.
credit card's usually like 90 to $120,000 a month right now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And she's like, I have to get this check before I can pay. And I'll just go on to Amex, pay it in full. And she's
Yeah.
like, why did you do that? And like, it's going to circulate the same way it did. You're just playing like your own little mental game of,
Yeah, I do that one as well. I'll be like, ooh, what if I wait till that? It won't matter. Whenever I wait till it,
does
I
not
know that
matter.
next week I'm gonna get that job in and it's gonna be all fine. And so, um, yeah, it's very weird. It's very different. I don't know. It's cool to see that change.
Awesome. Well, this was a lot of fun. I just
Yeah,
wanted
dude, I
to
appreciate it for sure.
highlight kind of somebody that I have not been in your position in almost 14 years now, actually. February would be 14 years. So I have not been there in 14 years. And so I try to every now and then hop in with somebody like you that I could see clearly crushing it and very short term and have massive momentum and to be able to speak to that type of crowd of what you are going through. There is nothing unique that you're doing per se. You're just doing it
Yeah.
and doing it consistently, and other people can too. So
I definitely appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a goal for a while, and yeah.
sweet. Well, where can people find you?
Nick.rap on Instagram, or if you're in Ozark, NS Raps, and it's kind of a same thing across the board there, NS Raps or Nick.rap.
Sweet, man. We appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you.